This is breaking news from KNWA.
All right, breaking within the last 15 minutes, just into the newsroom, police searching for this person you see on your screen. That is 19-year-old Jasmine Ashanti Johnson of Fort Smith. Johnston is accused of shooting a 16-year-old in the 5300 block of Fort Smith yesterday evening around 6 o'clock. That's very close to K. Rogers Park and the State Fairgrounds. That video you're seeing there is where the victim was then driven to right outside of Arkansas State Police headquarters at I-540 and Kelly Highway. Here's another look again at the suspect just released by FSPD. An arrest warrant is now out for Johnston, charged with first-degree murder and aggravated robbery. Johnston is considered armed and dangerous. If you have any information on where Johnston could be, you're urged to contact 911 immediately. Also new tonight, after a lengthy discussion and a council meeting that went on for hours past midnight, still no agreement on the prime item on their agenda, an ordinance to better promote transparency. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Doug Warner.
And I'm Allie Lynch. Council members ultimately decided to table that discussion, but only after heated debate and some confusion to the proposal. KNWA's Dylan Nooner has the details. And that was Dylan Nooner reporting for us tonight. The City Council is set to discuss the ordinance at the July 21st meeting.
Either you can move and let us do an interview, or I'm just going to leave.
Leave, sir. I'm not going to let you do an interview.
Okay.
Well, last night we were left with a few answers after the mayor of Arkoma, Oklahoma was kept from doing an interview with us by some social media influencer. But tonight finally answers as it relates to the future of their police force and their chief and assistant chief, who are both on paid administrative leave now for 2+ weeks. And that includes a one-on-one interview for the first time with the police chief left fighting for his job. KNWA's Phoebe Kramer in studio, and I know we also talked to the mayor today since we were cut off last night, so we're able to get input from both on this ongoing issue.
All right, Phoebe, thank you so much. Well, if we get a day where it's cool enough to head to one of our state's outdoor areas, you may now need a permit before doing so. It only applies if you're going to areas across the state that Arkansas Game and Fish is trying to manage or preserve. Anyone 16 and older wanting to hunt, fish, or hike in one of the many AGFC wildlife management areas will now need to have a valid hunting or fishing license or a conservation permit. This rule went into effect last week, but officials say there's a bit of a grace period before you're required to have that permit.
The fishing guidebooks are just going to be hitting retail outlets next week. So we had about a 2-week lag or 10-day lag for those getting out from when the regulation went into effect. That said, very unlikely if you're paddling and you're not a license holder, you're out on a lake or hiking on Frog Bayou, whatever the case may be, you're not going to get a ticket.
And there's nearly 150 of those protected areas across the state. One in our backyard, for example, is Frog Bayou in Crawford County. Not every outdoor area, though, is managed by Game and Fish. So where is this permit required? Our Reagan Wynn will have all those answers for you coming up tonight at 10.
New tonight, a repeat offender is back behind bars after running from police for the 3rd time in the last month and a half. Good evening and thank you for joining us here at 9. I'm Joshua Pineda. 29-year-old Brandon Boykin was arrested and booked yesterday by the Sequoyah County Sheriff's Office. He's charged with eluding a police officer and carrying or possessing a firearm by a convicted felon, among others. The Sequoyah County Sheriff's Office said in a Facebook post that they tried to pull Boykin over. Deputies say he ran, fleeing north into Adair County, driving recklessly before crashing on a sharp curve. Sequoyah County says deputies found a loaded cocked handgun that they think was in his hand at the time that he crashed. And if the name Brandon Boykin sounds familiar, well, that's because we told you back in mid-June, the Sallisaw Police Department says he ran from them before fleeing into the woods where a drone was flown to find out where he was. Then in mid-July, we reported the Sequoyah County Sheriff's Office said that they were looking for Boykin and another suspect at a Love's truck stop in Vian, Oklahoma, after they fled in a stolen vehicle that had a gun and a large amount of meth inside. Sequoyah County Sheriff's Office claims the Cherokee Nation initially set Boykin's bond at $25,000. They say investigators pleaded for an arrest warrant to be issued for the incident at the Vian Love's truck stop. Now that bond was set at $80,000 for a total bond of $105,000. Sheriff Larry Lane was not pleased, writing, quote, This is really frustrating for the officers who have spent so many hours putting themselves in harm's way, trying to apprehend these two menaces to our society, only to see a low bond set. This guy has demonstrated over and over that he's willing to endanger innocent people and law enforcement to avoid being arrested. Now, these are the kinds of career criminals we need to keep locked up before someone gets seriously hurt or killed. And the Centerton Police Department weighing in tonight, giving credit to the public for coming forward and helping identify a man who was arrested after allegedly leaving newborn puppies into a dumpster. A detective with the Centerton Police Department says in addition to the surveillance video posted by the Centerton Animal Services showing a man dumping the bag of puppies who were less than a day old into a dumpster behind a car wash 3 weeks ago, the public reaching out to their department helping lead to the identification of 30-year-old Skylar Shockley. Shockley turned himself into the Benton County Sheriff's Office yesterday before being released on a $25,000 bond.
We understand that the public has a lot of emotions because animals were involved. We acknowledge that, and we are going to do our best every single time to investigate every single crime to our fullest ability.
Chris Sutherland, the detective with the Centerton Police Department, says they're continuing to gather more info from the public. He says the department would rather receive information they already have than someone omit info they don't have. Their phone number is right there on your screen. Shockley's charged with aggravated cruelty to a dog, cat, or equine, which is a felony, and a misdemeanor cruelty to animals. Shockley's due in court September 14th. Well, after nearly 2 years with a vacant seat tonight, the city of Fort Smith has tabbed who it wants to be its next city administrator. Following tonight's executive session, the board of directors extended an offer to Jeff Dingman to assume the position full time. He's been Fort Smith's acting city administrator since February of 2025. If he accepts the offer, Dingman would officially take over as one of the most important people in Fort Smith's government.
The board sets the policy and the direction, and then the city administrator runs the day-to-day operations of the city. They oversee the budget, they oversee all of our employees.
The final vote to extend Dingman and an offer was a narrow one, though, only a 4-3 approval. Directors George and Christina Katsavis and Director Jared Rigo voted no tonight. And Madison County has picked who will fill the 4-month gap heading the sheriff's office. The quorum court formally appointed Ryan Ray as the interim sheriff. With a unanimous vote last night, he will be taking over Thursday at noon and will serve through the end of the year for Sheriff Ronnie Boyd, who put in his resignation last week. Before the meeting adjourned, the county clerk read a letter wishing Sheriff Boyd well.
Ronnie Boyd has been a sheriff who is taking his role as an elected official with dedication and veracity. He has earned the respect of those who worked both under him and alongside him. He has worked both in the field and in the office, rarely taking a day off and never shying away from putting in the hard work necessary to run his department. And for this, I wish Ronnie Boyd all the best on his future endeavors and thank him for his diligent service as Madison County Sheriff. Godspeed, Sheriff Boyd.
Boyd was defeated by Chuck Melton in the sheriff's Republican primary race. Well, across Arkansas, farmers in the row crop industry say they're in a financial dire straits. For the past several years, the River Valley has seen farmer after farmer close up shop because there's simply no profit to be found due to rising fuel and fertilizer costs. Jeff Ray, a farmer in Lavaca, says he's hardly breaking even and his farm could be next to go under. It's not only a loss for him, but he says the situation is threatening the future of American grown food.
People that don't appreciate where your food supply comes from, they better start learning where it comes from, because if we get to a point where we have to import the majority of our food, you will find out what you had and what we let go. And I'm afraid that's where we're headed.
We'll have the rest of this story tonight at 9:30. Well, if you live in Sulphur Springs, you're going to need to boil your water for the next few days. The Arkansas Department of Health issued a boil order due to E. coli bacteria found in the distribution system. You should boil your water for at least a minute before using it and get rid of your ice cubes. The boil order will be in place until testing confirms the water is safe to drink. Well, the Arkansas Crisis Center has launched AR Teen Connect, a youth peer-to-peer tech support line meant to help teens struggling with their mental health. Our Lauren Motley shares the impact this support line may have on kids in the region. That was our Lauren Motley. The Teen Connect support line will be open on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can find more information over on our website, fox24news.tv. One local superintendent says tonight the excitement is building throughout the district now that after years in the making, dirt's finally being dug up on its newest junior high school. Fayetteville is celebrating the start of construction on the new Ramey Junior High School. The district holding a groundbreaking ceremony at its College Avenue site this morning alongside several students, parents, and of course the staff.
Those that were there today that got to see the site and the view out over the city and got to get a feel for what the kids will experience being surrounded by nature in this site. It just really created a sense of pride of where we're headed and what we're going to be able to provide our kids for years to come.
Dr. John Mulford tells us if everything stays on schedule, the new school should be open just in time for the 2028-2029 school year. This project, along with the new Woodland Junior High School project, are part of the district's plan to help its elementary, middle, and junior high feeder pattern. Well, investing in the future, that's the goal for the Oklahoma State Chamber, and one way of doing that is by adding coaches to the classrooms. I'll tell you more about the potential move later in the show. Plus, we know it's hot outside. You know who else knows that? High school student athletes. We're hearing from an athletic trainer on what she's doing to keep the kids safe. First, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Dan Scoff, who's back from the Tauntaun Great Festival. Dan, I know you had an absolute blast out there. Yeah. I know you know that it was hot outside as well.